Thousands of people who were at that celebration raced to get as far away from the scene as they could. A number of Americans were caught up in that chaos. We want to turn now to Christopher Dickey, who's the foreign editor of the Daily Beast, and he works with us here at NBC. Chris, there was a high state of alert, a state of emergency. Everybody was on alert after a string of terror attacks in France over the last 18 months, and still nothing could stop this guy with a truck and a gun. What's the mood in France this morning?
Well, you know, you're always trying to fight the last war. You're always trying to stop the last terrorist attack. And what you've seen with Al-Qaeda and now with ISIS, the so-called Islamic State, is they change their tactics all the time. They are much more imaginative than people give them credit for. They use different techniques. So, for instance, just a few weeks ago, somebody representing himself as working with ISIS killed a policeman and his wife with a knife in front of their 3-year-old son just outside of Paris. We had Kalashnikovs used at the Bataclan and at the massacres on November 13th. We had guns and pistols used before that with the Charlie Hebdo massacre. It's gotten harder to get all those weapons. Now the weapon they use is the easiest thing to get of all, a truck being driven by a delivery man. He's the one who takes it into this area here on this broad esplanade, the Promenade des Anglais, and he kills 84 people.
President Hollande, ironically, had just said that this state of emergency that France has been under since the Paris attacks might be just about to be able to be wrapped up. And now, of course, he said in light of what's happened in Nice, it has to continue. How do the French people feel about their government's response, about the response of French intelligence and police in responding to this new threat?
Well, you know what they want to do with this state of emergency and with the laws that have been passed over the last year is make it easier for police to interrogate people longer, to hold them longer, to interrogate them longer, to monitor phone calls, and especially to monitor internet traffic, basically to use all kinds of invasive techniques that civil libertarians definitely think are a bad idea. But the police understand that the only way they can stop these kinds of incidents is through good intelligence. You can't put barriers around everything. You can't stop everyone from driving around a July 14th or like the July 4th celebrations. You can't do everything that's necessary to stop terrorists all the time if you have to stop them at the last minute. You have to stop them much earlier on, and that's all about intelligence and intelligence gathering.
Chris Dickey, who's lived in France and knows as much about that country as just about anyone. Chris, always interesting to get your perspective. Thank you very much.